crowd tonight. I figured that out. I'm gonna go do this. Close the door. Somebody give me thumbs up. Let me know when you can hear me.
Average men wait for.
All right, look like we got what we need. All right, let's get to chopping this fable, y'all. It's a lot going on. Make sure the camera right. Yeah, for the people that don't know or new to the channel, I am a Lions fan. And I've been a Lions fan, not, the past, 3 years where they've been doing pretty decent, but I've been a Lions fan since listening to Barry Sanders on the radio because we couldn't sell out the Silverdome in Pontiac. So that's how long I've been a Lions fan, for a long time. Y'all see the gray hair, so I've been in this game for a minute. But with all that said, I know I'm gonna get the comments in the chat about hey Levita, how's it going? About my team and all that, but don't worry about it. We still got time. We're gonna turn it around. We're gonna start stacking wins, get playoff ready, and we're gonna be ready when these playoffs kick off. So don't fret, Lions Nation out there, we got it. Y'all know how this channel go. Put your comments, questions in the chat on the right side, and I'll take it from there. Of course, always have a topic, but of course, before I get into the subject matter or topic at hand, I always bring up, different things that's going in the news that may affect a lot of people out there if you're paying attention to it. If you're not paying attention to it and prefer to just be deaf, blind, and dumb to it, then you'll realize this stuff coming down the pipe when it's already affected you and there's nothing you could do about it. First thing that I want to bring up, and yeah, I still have a little cold from last week, but we're going to manage through that and fight through that also. But the first thing I want to bring up is the housing market. The housing market right now is it's a little bit finicky. I'm not one of those doomers that say, oh, the housing market's over with, we about to crash, great financial crisis crash. No, I'm not that guy. What I am is a guy that's going to tell you that everything is not rosy on the housing front. One report that just came out this week was that 45% of the home listings year over year has been delisted. So people list their home, the home's been on the market for, 60, 90, 120 days, some even longer than that. And then the seller is just taking their house off the market because they can't sell. For people that's new to the channel, but people that's been on the channel for a while, I was one of the few advocates that was yelling up and down when COVID came and we had the helicopter money coming in and people was getting money from PPPs and, LLC loans and enhanced unemployments, that buying in the Florida market at that time was the wrong thing to do. Got a lot of flack for it, but yeah, here we are. Florida market is getting turned on its head right now. I have still yet to buy another property in the state of Florida in the past 5 years, going on 6 years, because of what I said. I mean, I literally do what I'm talking about on this channel. I don't just make it up and then go and do something else opposite of what I'm saying, trying to hedge the market to try to convince people to do something opposite of what I'm doing. But right now in Florida, and it's a lot of other tertiary markets that's having issues with housing. One, for instance, right now, Dallas. Dallas was smoking hot. Dallas, like Florida, was a place a lot of the migration went to during COVID, where a lot of homes was being built. A lot of people was migrating there because of no taxes or because of a cheaper cost of living, but it drove the prices up in these areas. And now the problem is the people that bought during those times, and then they have to pivot, maybe because of family issues, maybe because of, return to the office, maybe because of life. Maybe they would just wanted to stay in the area for 2 to 3 years and then sell a house for a higher price, 4 years or whatever, but sell the house for a higher price. They're stuck. They're stuck in a major way. Just a couple reports that's out there. Zillow saying home prices in Dallas are down, the values are down 45%. So if we take that matrix and take that number and understand it, So if people bought, I'm just throwing out a random number. If people paid $400,000 for a house during COVID at 2-3%, and then now because house prices have come down in the Dallas area and they trying to sell it for 400,000, they're not making money on it. Matter of fact, once you put in all the cost, the expenses, and all agent fees, hey Ludine, how's it going? All the agent fees that go along with it, the seller might have to come to the table with a check just to get out of that property. That was a big proponent that I was saying during COVID. If you're buying a house during COVID and taking advantage of the low interest rates, that's great if you plan on living in that house, 8 to 10 years or longer. But if you're looking at it as a flip, the musical chairs, the music gonna stop soon, and then somebody's gonna be left holding the bag on that. And it's quite a few people in the Dallas area. Some people are moving into short sales. We start seeing the foreclosure numbers peak up, especially for those people that's in Florida, Dallas, and all these other areas, and they have to return to work and then go back there. Hey Jay, how's it going? People having to go back to work, and then they have to leave those properties, and then they having to pay a mortgage in IE Texas, and then also paying rent or mortgage there in California. So we're seeing some short sales, you're seeing some foreclosures. So that's something that people need to be paying attention to. I'm not here saying that, oh, the market is about to crash and all that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that the transactions in housing will be flat for a little while longer. Matter of fact, a lot of while longer. Just meaning the traction of the buying and selling in the traditional phase that we're used to. So we got to keep an eye on that and pay attention to that, especially for the people that's still looking for housing to live somewhere, looking to buy. I'm never a proponent, and I don't care what phase we're in, even in COVID or even now, paying list price for a house. List price for a house is just the imaginary number that the seller came up with their agent to buy the house, and then of course they include in all the fees that they'll have to pay, and then they'll net out to a positive income. I've never been a fan of buying list price. I've always been a fan of doing great deals. Even in COVID, when I did buy during COVID, it was always a great deal. I never paid list price. Hell, even now, when I did a video and I talked about the triplex that I bought this year, that was the only deal I did. That was fairly low for me, but anyway, I still did a hell of a deal on that because I understand there's ebbs and flows and cycles in this. That some days it's going to be up, sometimes it's going to be down, and it's a cyclical environment when it comes to housing. I want the best price that it can weather all the storms, no matter where it's at. And I've always implored people who is out buying houses, no matter if it's owner-occupied or using it as an investment, you go and try to force the best deal that you can, because you're going to have to deal with the problem after the fact. So the people that went out there and paid list price or paid over list price to buy houses, they're in a hard situation, especially if they bought during COVID and at the 2 to 3% interest rates. They paid astronomically higher than the house is actually worth because the interest rate was so low, their monthly payments was lower, and then life happened. People lose jobs, people get into car accidents, medical stuff happened, return back to work, going into the office. Some people was remote workers, 100% fully remote, and they was living in another state, and now they got to move to another state. So it's a lot of reasons why people have to sell, but right now is not the opportune time if you want max dollar for your property to sell. So just wanted to point that out right there so people have an understanding of what's going on in the housing market. But for the people that's out there that's looking, that don't mean you sit on your butt and do nothing. What that means is this right here, because sellers can't sell, this is giving you an opportunity to do some of the best deals in your life. If you looking for a home to owner-occupied, there's many avenues to go about it, but you could be very aggressive because it's a lot of people that's in situations where they can't afford a mortgage in one place and rent in another place. And then, yes, there will be some people who was homeowners that never been a landlord a day in their life, and that is going to try to rent out the property that they own. But the thing is they mistakenly or been forced into being a landlord. They don't understand the nuances and how those things work and the money and the capital that's involved in doing that, which will actually give them more heartache than ever. So for you people that's out there that's looking for property, this is the time that you can get the best advantageous deal there out there because you don't have any competition. Back during COVID, a house would be on the market for 3 minutes up to 3 days, 3 weeks max. Now homes on the market 30, 60, 90, 120 days. I've seen some on there for 380 days. So this is your time to go in there with an aggressive offer that makes it best for you and your family. So I wanted to point that out. Another thing that I just found strikingly interesting that came across the wire on me during the Great Financial Crisis, 2008. Thanks for all the likes, the thumbs up. Please, everybody, like, subscribe, share this channel. Just passing out the information. Hopefully, everybody can get it and they can see, get some information that'll help them. Another thing that was interesting that came across the wire was during the Great Financial Crisis, the year before the Great Financial Crisis. So in 2007, the vehicle repo amount was, the number of vehicles that was repoed in the United States was 1.7 million. The year before the Great Financial Crisis technically was confirmed in March of 2008. In 2005, the number is expected, right now we're at 2.4 million in 2005. The number is expected to hit 3 million by the end, and we only got, 3 more weeks left in 2025? But we're almost at 3 million vehicles that will be repossessed. Let that sink in a little bit. 3 million vehicles. And yeah, some of it got to do with, the immigration policies that's out there. Some people self-deported. Some people getting deported that owned, that had financing and stuff like that. But a lot of it is doing because the cost of living is so high that people can't, they just can't afford it. And a lot of these people that's getting repossessed is the same people that bought during COVID. When you had the extra money, you had the enhanced money thought process of, hey, yeah, I can only afford a Toyota Corolla, but because I got all this extra money now, I'm going to go get me a Toyota Tundra. And then what came along with it, even though you had a low interest payment, was the monthly payment. But then everything gets back to reality, and now you're not getting the extra money. And then now with the job that you have, you can't afford the monthly payments. And then, of course, grocery prices is going higher, utility prices going higher, property tax prices going higher, insurance rates are going higher, both health, vehicle, and homeowner insurance is going higher. And it's just not enough money to end your month. And again, for the people that have been following this channel, I've always said, and I kept saying during there, stop spending money, focus on the things that you can control, live way below your means. That's the situation and scenario every time. I know people get tired of me saying it, but that's how I survive a lot of cycles, is because no matter how much money I'm bringing in, I always keep my cost of living way lower. Yeah, do I go out on trips? Yeah, do I go, I'll go to the bar, sometimes I'll, hang out with some friends that maybe come visit. Yeah, I do that. But I do that in very low moderation. Very low moderation. So I can have extra cash stacked up in case bad stuff is going to happen. Because bad stuff will happen. I have extra cash stacked up if an opportunity comes in the real estate market, if an opportunity comes in the crypto market, if an opportunity comes in the business market. That's the reason why I have that extra cash, to take advantage of depressed times where people can't jump in and take care of themselves. And it gives me the advantage to build more capital and build more assets and more streams of revenue to come into the family to weather the next storm that's going to come down the line. Most people in America, we living in a world that, everything's perfect, so I can spend up to what I make. How's that working out for you? That's the question. How is that working out for you? So that's another thing that's out there. So vehicle repossessions are up there. Another note on just in the stock market, whatever, and I know people have been waiting for this for a long time, but news came out that it's planned for executive order to move marijuana from a Schedule 3 drug to a Schedule 1 drug. So what that will do or allow, and I could have had the schedules wrong or levels wrong, but what the change will do with the executive order, if it goes through, again, key point, if it goes through, is it would allow banks to invest into the marijuana industry. It will allow, credit cards and all that different avenues to be able to buy products in the marijuana industry. While it was still a classified as in the same level of cocaine and stuff like that, you couldn't have bank investments and you couldn't use banking transactions in a lot of these recreational spaces. But with moving marijuana from that, that super critical controlled drug substance to a lighter level, it will open up opportunity for that. Now, how much will marijuana stocks and all that stuff go up? I don't know. I mean, I think the market is very saturated on a lot of areas in some states. There's a lot of states that still hasn't implemented recreational marijuana, like Florida. We still in the medical marijuana stage. But just letting you know, that came down. So if you're looking at the Tilrays or the CGCs or Altria or something like that to play that market, just know that news came out. What else? All right, now I'm about to say something controversial, and then people could take it controversial or run with it, but hopefully I can give you my thinking or thought process behind it. Right now in America, the middle class is considered $41,392,000 up to $124,000. That's considered a middle class. I highly disagree with it. And of course, depending on location, of course, you can get some places like Arkansas, Mississippi, places like that where the cost of living is way down. So you can make it in the middle class at that. But for the majority of America, I mean, when you add in the Floridas, the Texas, the Californias, the New York, New Jerseys, the Michigans, the Illinois, and things like that. And I'm gonna try to give you some numbers to back up, my statement or where I believe. I believe right now in America in 2025, the middle class is $100,000 to about $500,000. Anything less than $100,000, and I'm talking about on aggregate in the United States. Of course, some people might be like, "Oh, I can make it on 70 or whatever." But in the aggregate 2025, if you don't have a household income, not individually, but a household income of $100,000, you are not in the middle class. And I'm thinking $100,000 is lower middle class. And I'm not saying that to, cause an uproar, but let's just think about it. And then I pulled it up. The average mortgage payment in 2025 is $2,200 a month. That's principal and interest. That's not homeowners insurance. That's not property taxes. So that's $2,200 a month. The average car payment in 2025 is $753 a month. So now if you add in insurance for that vehicle, that brings that to $1,000 a month. Now if you add property taxes and insurance to the home payment, that's about $3,000 a month. And of course, most families, if it's a family of two with two kids, you need two vehicles. So that's $2,000 a month on vehicles, and then you got another $3,000 a month on the home mortgage. That's $5,000 a month. Times 12 months is $60,000. And of course, I know it could be some lower payments somewhere in there, but I'm just talking about on aggregate, the average or the median for the United States. So that's $60,000 just in those two apparatuses there. We ain't talked about gas for the vehicle. We ain't talking about maintenance for vehicles. We haven't talked about food for the home. We haven't talked about health care. We haven't talked about, trip vacation. We haven't talked about any of this other stuff. We ain't talked about bills, utilities, and all that other stuff. That is the number. And so you got, so if you're paying $60,000 for that, you got $40,000 left, and you still got taxes to pay of the $100,000. So you're gonna make 70 net and 70. So you got 40. You got $30,000 left to do the rest of it. So if you're not in that wheel space or you're not at 100,000, I'm talking about especially for the younger generation. If that's not the goal you're trying to get at as a household income, you're going to be in trouble moving forward. Because don't get this twisted. Don't think that because the Trump administration is saying inflation is down, that don't mean prices are going down. Of course, gas prices are coming down, But when they say inflation is down, that just means the price of goods are just not going to go up as fast. We're not in a deflationary situation where the price of groceries, the price of housing, the price of everything else is going to accelerate to the downside. What it's just saying when they saying, and you hear it in the news, inflation is down, that just means the prices are where they're at, but they just won't increase as fast as they have the previous years. That's all it means with inflation. So don't get it twisted and think inflation means price. The price is going down. No, it's just not going up as much or as fast as it was before. So let's just think about the people that, especially moving into adulthood in their early 20s, and things like that. They have a lot to think about. Having kids and all that. Kids are expensive. I'm not gonna sit there and deny that. And I can sit here and stand on my soapbox where I've been saying for forever, well, you don't need to have a car payment. I still believe that. But after doing this for so many years, I know I'm not going to convince anybody not to go get a car payment because that's what everybody else is doing. Everybody loves to follow people in the crowd and just go get car payments. Only thing you need is a car. You need transportation A to B, but car payments is the way people want to go. So for the majority of people that will do that, and hopefully you don't get your vehicle repossessed, $100,000 in household income, that just puts you barely in the middle class. And I'm not even talking about going to do the bougie stuff. I'm not talking about, hey, you taking a vacation every quarter. I'm not talking about taking the kids to Disney World and the theme parks and all that. Exclude all of that. You still need $100,000 in 2025 to breathe. Just to breathe. So that's something that people need to be cognizant of. And if your household is not at $100,000, that don't mean life's over. You just got to be more strategic. You got to be more strategic on the things that you do and how you do them. Like I said, everybody don't need a car payment. You need to save up some money and just go get, a used car. Pay, a couple $1,000s and just ride it till the wheels fall off. Maybe you don't go buy the single family house for you and your family. Maybe you go buy a duplex and live in one side to cut your cost of living down and rent out the other side. And people, I'm not saying this as, oh, you don't deserve a home. Hear me well. This is the same thing that I have my kids do. I have kids right now that live in one side with their family and they rent out the other side to lower their cost of living. So that's how you have to be strategic. You got to find a way to keep costs down in anything. People need to, and then it's getting into the conversation that I wanted to originally have. People got to start auditing or inventorying the circle of people that they're around. Because the people that you're around can put you in a situation that put you in bankruptcy or put you in one of these 3 million people that's getting a vehicle repoed. If you hanging around a group of people that just keep up with the Joneses, and I'm just calling out names, oh, because Ludine just bought a new 2025 Mustang, I got to go buy me a 2025 Mustang. Oh, if Levita go buy a new house, I got to go buy a new house. If you in circles of people that's like that, you're pushing yourself into bankruptcy. You're pushing yourself into hard time. If you have people like, and again, I'm just using names, if Jay going out there and he partying every weekend, I need to go out there and party every weekend. He popping bottles, I need to go pop bottles. If that's the circle of people that you're in, you're setting yourself up for failure. Forget you're setting your family up for failure. You're setting your kids up for failure, because what's going to happen is your kids are going to see that and think, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. They're not going to have the inherent knowledge of knowing that, oh, well, I got to work real hard to do it. They're going to just think that's what we have to do. If you don't have a circle of friends, and I say circle of friends, I'm including family members, I'm including everything, that if you don't have a conversation about personal finance, you're in the wrong circles. If you don't have conversations on how to come up and actually action the come up, you're in the wrong circles. What is the point, especially people that's over the age of 30, what is the point of just hanging around people just to say, oh yeah, we're friends? We got responsibilities now. At 30, you damn sure got responsibility. You either got a kid, a car payment, house payment, something. You got responsibilities. When you 20-something years old, oh, that's cool, shuck and jive. You know, we just trying to figure out life at that age. But when you get over 30, you got responsibility. Well, what is the point of just hanging around people just to hang around people? Literally, right now, today, I got an Army buddy that's here in town. He's been here for a couple weeks. I haven't seen him in 20 years. 20 years back when we was shucking and jiving, doing a whole bunch of nothing, going to the clubs, 20 years ago. He's here in town. I've seen him multiple times since he's been here. We had some of the greatest conversations about adulthood, about different ways to, you know, how the financial markets work, you know, things that we're seeing on the investment front, you know, looking at economic data and stuff like that. That's what grown people doing. If you in your 40s and 50s and you still talking about popping bottles and going to the club, looking at ass, you in the wrong game. You in the wrong game. And sorry for cussing and all that. Well, I ain't sorry, because I meant exactly what I said. You in the wrong game. Yeah, it was cool in the 20s, but once you start getting responsibilities, it's something bigger than yourself. But if you're not around people that's pulling the better you out, you're setting yourself up for failure. I done heard Dan Pena, I done heard Grant Cardone, I done heard Robert Kiyosaki, I done heard a lot of people say it. 5 friends. And when they say friends, everybody just thinking about friends is outside the household. When I say 5 friends, I mean 5 people total. The 5 people you spend the most of your time with, that is your destination. That's why your parents used to tell you, you show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Because it's inherent that you will start doing whatever your friends doing. So if you're broke and your friends have money, you will be the 5th one to have money. But if you have money and you got 4 broke friends, you inherently going to be the 5th broke one. Remember, it's only 4 reasons why people come into your life. To add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Your goal is to make sure most of them are to add and multiply and get rid of, subtract, and divide people. Because they're just taking away from what you still have to do. All right, let me go to some questions before I go on a tangent. Because I still got to talk about the stocks in the stock market. What's the average that middle class can make to live comfortably for a family of 4 today? $100,000, and that's still with making some cuts in a lot of places. That's what I believe. So Jay asked, what was that? What I'm guessing he's asking me, what do I believe? What is the average middle class can make to live comfortably for a family of 4 today? Of course, it's location dependent. Location dependent. The higher cost of living areas will be more. Lower cost of living areas could be a little bit less. But I think on aggregate, to be in the middle class, I don't know what comfortably mean. If comfortably mean car payments, house payments, credit card payments, yoga studio, Starbucks every day, then you need more than $100,000. But just to live comfortably, $100,000 in most areas, you will be comfortable in the middle class. But still, at $100,000, you're still making sacrifices in other areas to get there. Because we just went over the numbers. Car payments, mortgage payments, with all the fixings, that's about $60K right there if you got two cars. And then you still got electricity, you got utilities, you got clothes for the kids, you got health care, you got food, you got all this other stuff that you got to pinch in there. So those are things that you got to look at. And again, I'm going to say it again, this is location dependent. But for the most part, I believe $100,000 is the minimum. What is the average? Jay asked, what is the average the family should be saving and investing? Now, again, that's why I said $100,000 is the minimum. Because remember, $100,000, and then after taxes, let's say 30% goes to taxes and all that other BS, especially take taxes if you're in there. That's with $70,000 left. The mortgage payment, the car payment, and all that, that's eating up most of it. So you got 30. I didn't even bring up saving and investing. But I'm of the ilk that you should, especially if you have a dual income household, at the least you should be maxing out your Roth IRA every year, both sides. So now just think with the numbers that I just said, and then taxes taken out to max out your Roth IRA, you still need about $14,000 to $15,000 a year for two parents. One parent is like $7,500. So again, you guys still got to make sacrifices at $100,000 just to be comfortable. But at a minimum, you should be maxing out your Roth IRA. Then after you max out your Roth IRA, of course, you should be matching, at least putting in a match in the 401k. And then you should be maxing out the 401k to get some tax relief there. That's what I believe. What are your thoughts on kids leaving the house at 18? I think our community is kicking them out, setting them up for failure. Oh, that's a good question, Jay. That's a good question. I do not believe in the kids get out at 18. Now, I do believe that kids better be doing something at 18. You can't be sitting in the house playing video games. You can't be acting like a vampire, staying up all night and sleeping all day. Oh, no, 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 no. 17, 18, you better have a job. You better, I mean, if you living in my house, you better have a job. But also, if you 17, then you out of high school and you going to college, you need a job and still going to school. Your days of just being a student are over at 18 in my house. You got to do extra. And then, yeah, you still got to study. You don't have time for video games. You maybe could do it on the weekend for about 3 to 5 minutes, but that's about it. But yes, I do believe parents are setting their kids up for failure when they kick them out the house. I mean, of course, now these kids got some smart mouths too now. Now, some of these parents be like, hell no, I ain't about to deal with all those lips, especially when you think you're grown. I get that also. But the truth of the matter is send them out there, especially now in these times where, of course, of course, wage growth has risen a little bit, but the cost of living is so high. Yeah, you setting them up for failure. You setting them up to be in debt for a long time. So I do agree with kicking them out the house, but I ain't saying sitting here pestering and babying some grown-ass kids either. It's time to put them to the test and put them to task. I mean, me as a parent, I look at it is the kids should be working, and then them working is not for them to leverage, they go out and spend money. That's you leveraging to build up a nest egg to go do something bigger and better in life so you won't have to start at ground zero. I mean, of course, parents should be saving for their kids, but if they're not, that's on them. But that's what having the kids stay in the house is. It's not just so, oh yeah, I can stay with my mom and dad and I can just go spend all my money and I can go club and go to theme parks and party all day and still have zero. No. You leveraging the benefit to stay in there to have extra money saved up so you can have a better jump off path than your parents have. That's how I look at it. Xavier. That's more than comfortable. I don't know what you mean by what's more than comfortable. You should never have a car payment if you're worried about savings. Xavier, I agree with you 100%. Now I see what you're saying. Xavier, I agree with you 10,000%. But again, I've been preaching that same message on this channel for years now. But people still go out there and get car payments. So, I mean, I'm only talking about the reality that it is. The reality is people are still going to get car payments. People think that they need new cars, or people think that they need to have a car payment. Me, if I can't pay for it cash, I ain't doing it. I'm just like, all right, whatever. But the majority of the people, I'm talking to the populace. I wish I could just talk to, my like-minded kind of people and just bring them over to this side and say, hey, save up some money and do it. So, Xavier, I 100% agree with you on that fact. But to the world and America culture, that is comfortable, having car payments, having all these payments and paying all this stuff out the wazoo and don't have no savings, that is normal. And that's why I say that. But I'm always a man that lived below his means. And I can be quite honest with y'all, if I had to start today, because I'm willing to make the sacrifices and not do all the stuff the world say I have to do, I can muster it in and still invest, save, and do all those things for under $100,000. But I know people don't like going hard or think that I'm crazy because I say how hard you need to go to actually be successful. I think I can still make it under 70,000. Matter of fact, I think I can make it for under 70,000 a year with the same dynamic that I have today, because I'm willing to not do those things to be a part of the culture and still find ways to succeed. But people just not willing to do that. So Xavier, you are 100% right. Xavier McLeod. I like that one. Have they released the max for the 401k for 2026? I think they have, and I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. Max 401k contribution for 2026 is $24,500. $24,500. Those 50 and over can catch up. Got a catch-up contribution of $8,000. So if you're 50 years or over, you can put $32,500 in there. And then if you're over 60, you got 11,250 catch-up so that means you're allowed to put 35,750 in there for the 401k contribution. Now the Roth IRA contribution, I didn't add Roth for 2026. Excuse me. 2026, the maximum Roth contribution is $7,500 a year. Again, I believe people should max out their Roth IRA and every year. And then if you're over 50, it's $8,600. So that is out there. But that was another good question out there, Jay, because I forgot to mention that one. All right, so I know around this time everybody come up, or they wait a couple more weeks and they come up with all these BS New Year's resolutions and things like that. In my household, we do something similar to that, but trust me, it ain't gonna be nothing on the resolution list to say I'm going to the gym, I'm getting skinny, and no, I'm not doing that. I'm keeping it a buck. But I don't believe in say the resolution of, oh, I have to wait till January 1st before I start. So let me go ahead and be ignorant and stupid until January 1st, then I can go do what I say I'm gonna do. People, if you don't know, more than 70% of the people that do a New Year's resolution quit before the end of January. So that's not me. But I do game plan 2025 for what I'm gonna do in 2026. In 2025, I only did 3 things of substance. And 3 things of substance. I did my first private equity deal and a company that will pay dividends years down. Sow a seed now, reap the harvest later. That's what I did. Got the triplex. I think that was a couple months ago. Got that. I did the rehab on that. Fully did the rehab on that. So that was the thing. And then the other one was going to Japan with the family. I mean, for the people that know me, they know I hate traveling. I hate flying. I could sit here and tell y'all a whole bunch of sentimental BS and be like, oh, it was a great time being around family and all. No, it was really an enlightening to see other cultures and see how they operate. Sitting there looking at the people from Japan and see how they was focused on task. Hey, I got a mission, I got a goal, I'm shooting for it, I'm going for it. That's what I got out of it. I did, I've seen a bidet before, but got very close and personal with a bidet. So that was the thing. Brought one of those back to the house. That was a good thing. But just understanding the culture and seeing how people could be laser focused, that was something that kept me motivated. So that's why it was a major thing. Yeah, it was good to hang out with the family, spend some money. No, spending money wasn't fun. I ain't gonna lie about that. But yeah, spent a little money. But, mingling with the people, having conversations with people that I never met before, talking to people just about different cultures, different regions of the world and stuff like that. That part was great. But it only takes 3 things. It only takes 2 or 3 things that you do a year that you're laser focused on, or you setting up now to do for next year. So I'll tell you just one that I already have on my plan, and I'm already setting it up now to do it in 2026 because of tax reasons and things like that. I'm not in a rush to do it with a couple weeks to go here. But I plan on taking advantage of this stagnant housing market. I mean, take full advantage of it. The numbers are coming out. There are way more sellers than there are buyers. There is no competition. So that gives me opportunities. I was always telling you, I'm doing disrespectful offers, great deals. I'm only going to do a greater deal. But what I'm going to look for is I'm looking for something in the 16 to 24 unit space to do a hell of a deal on. The banks are running out of the times of the extend and pretend to refinance these interest rates. They've been doing it too long. There's going to be a lot of desperate sellers in the years to come, and I plan on fully taking advantage of that in 2026. But I'm setting my ducks up in a row now. I'm not waiting for January 1st. I'm setting up my ducks in a row now just to, when I see the deal and I have the conversation, I get the seller down to the price that I want that will be most advantageous for me and my family, I'm going to jump on it. That's one. I don't know what the hell I plan on doing, the other three things that I plan on doing, but it will be doing something with performance that will bring more revenue to the family. Just because we got more revenue and more income, that don't mean we got more revenue, let's go do something crazy and go spend the money. No, it's just more revenue. It's more revenue to prepare us because there's going to be some crazy times coming. It's going to be more revenue to prepare us because there's going to be somebody that's really in need that need help. Not the fake need help. They really need help. That's what the revenue is. At this point, I'm not saying it's a game, but that's the only thing I'm looking at. I'm only looking at ways to generate more revenue. I can do everything that I want to do with the revenue I already have. I have money piling up. Why don't I just go put it out there and do something else with it? To make more, to make more, to make more. Keep sowing the seeds to reap the harvest. Keep sowing the seeds to reap the harvest. That's what it is. Because trust me, I already know more bad stuff is going to come. Right before the call, somebody called and said, oh, the shower busted and now you got to repipe the whole apartment unit. I know it's coming. But I better be prepared. I'd rather be prepared than surprised. And those people are the circle that you need to start bringing yourself around. You done had all your life to be around a circle of people that you wanted to be around. Look at your bank account. How well did that work out for you? And again, when I say people you want to be around, I'm talking about family, friends, wives, cousins, sisters, aunts, uncles, the whole nine. How well did that work out for you? One thing I do is look at your bank account. Go look at your portfolio. How's it looking? If you ain't happy with what you see, you need to go change the circle. Or you need to spend more time in the right circles. I'm not saying cast these people off, like out to sea, but you need to spend more time with people that's moving in the direction that you want to go. Instead of keep doing rinse and repeating and saying, oh, that's my day one, that we cousins, we family. How's that working out for you? Still yet to the day, no utility company, no construction company, no bill that came in, I could write on there, oh, because we family. Oh, I could pay you with love. Oh, I could use some emotional statement. Only person that's going to save you is you. So start putting yourself in circles to benefit. Leverage the circles that you're around. Trust me, your day one's still going to be doing the same degenerate stuff that they've been doing the last 20 years you've been doing. You can go do your thing and then come back, they're doing the same thing. You'll be fine. You'll be all right. Let's see what else we got out there. All right, it ain't nothing else out there, but for Ludine, Jay, especially Xavier, I love that comment, Xavier. Thanks for the comment. I'm not going to keep jumping on the tangent. There's more stuff out there in the news, but I'm not going to keep going over that today. But I'll hit you up. Please like, subscribe, share. Hit me up with any questions or tell me a video topic. I can always do that on the live next week. And let's get into it. And 2026 coming. It's decide what you want to do. Do you want to still stay in the same situation? Do you want to level up? Or do you just want to say, oh, well, whatever happens, we'll figure it out. Good luck with that. But until next time, thank y'all for joining in. Like, subscribe, share, and we'll do this again next week. Have a good one.